Today we will talk about SupportAssist for Business PCs, which is our Dell Technologies AI-powered technology. This application is going to solve a lot of IT administrators' pain points in the industry. A lot of administrators' pain point in the industry. So, what are the top IT administrator pain points? So, if you see, driver management is the core, one of the top pain point right there, and having to know the telemetry which is coming off the computers, uh, then how the end users get impacted with the kind of PC issues which they are seeing, either hardware or software, or even simple thing like, okay, this end user is having a 6 GB RAM or 8 GB RAM, and they're asking for 16 GB. So do you really need to provide them the 16 gig RAM to them? So some simple day-to-day activity tasks to the big things like a battery failure or a hard drive failure, the entire IT process, which has been there over the years, like legacy methods which they have been using. Support Assist for Business PCs is a new modern AI enabled technology, just tailor made only for IT administrators, specifically IT companies, IT departments can make use of this application. It is a simple application, which is it is an agent which is going to stay on the PC and monitor, collect certain specific data which customer provides us to approve, us to gather, right? So then the same telemetry is populated on the dashboard of a cloud portal. Then customer can take actions. So this is an application wherein IT administrator or customers have a complete 100% control, and the and it is so flexible according to their preferences, as per region or as per their needs. So the application can be customized. That is a greatness of this application. And with this AI predictive and proactive technology, which is it has embedded with those technologies, it's going to be even powerful, and it's going to and I would say it's going to change the legacy method of IT processes. So it's going to automate, and so that IT administrators or IT department can work on other important things, while support is for business PCs can take care of a lot of things which they spend unnecessarily. Like their help desk tickets can be like 50% less or even more, I would say. So they can focus on the other important things while this is. So I wanted to explain you uh, in detail about this application, how this application can be utilized, and how it can be downloaded or deployed, and also how this data which is generated from this application can be useful to the customers. So I'll go uh, step by step, and please ask your questions in the chat. I will pause at every section so that you can ask questions relevant to that, so that we can go together and learn together. Okay, thank you. So I will begin the application. So support assist for business PCs, right? So this can be, we have a tool called, we have a cloud portal. It's called techdirect.dell.com, right? tdm.dell.com is our tool, where it has various enterprise services listed here, right? So they can do several things specific to, today we'll go over specific to connect and manage, so the support assist, which is connect and manage PC fleet. So if there is a new company or a new customer who wants to utilize support assist, what they need to do is TechDirect, go to our Dell Technologies TechDirect portal, which is tdm.dell.com or techdirect.dell.com, and onboard your company. So onboarding company is also very simple. Like you need to just provide your company details, uh, company details, where the address, and the company administrator, and then onboard your company, and then enroll few technicians or users or administrators into the TechDirect portal. And then besides connect and manage, they can do self-dispatch, and several other services are available. So assign the proper roles to that users who have onboarded. So step one is onboard into TechDirect, onboard your company into TechDirect portal, our cloud portal, and then join your respective technicians or administrators into the company, then assign them the role. So there are 3 steps. Once the assigned role is done, like if an IT administrator or technician is assigned to your role to connect and manage PC fleet, then they can access connect and manage PC fleet here. Centrally manage and monitor your Dell PCs with SupportAssist. So this is the section, the tile which an IT administrator who has a role to manage this connect and manage can be will be accessing. Yeah. So IT administrator will navigate to this, and he'll be landing into a connectivity, a configuration page. So the steps here is we have it all documented here. For SupportAssist for business PCs, we have admin guide, deployment guide, and FAQ, release notes, all are listed. So the deployment guide, if we refer to deployment guide, it clearly says that you need to onboard into TechDirect, and then once the onboarding is done, then once the onboarding is done, you can navigate to this portal and then do your configurations, right? So configure according to your preferences, then download the application and install it. So those are the steps involved. So I'll walk you over how the configuration and its preferences will impact the end user experience. If a SupportAssist, primarily, it's going to monitor your hardware. If there is a hard drive failure or a battery failure, it predicts and proactively it generates a case or dispatch for you. And once a case or dispatch is created, then it will send a notification to the contact, the primary contact, secondary contact, or shipping address, which are here, which are configured or are added here. So these people or this distribution list will get the notification that, okay, this particular end user has a issue, as a hard drive issue or battery issue, or it can be a fan issue. So any thermal issue, so any issue or the dispatch which it got created, it will be notified to this distribution list. And the shipping address which is configured here. So this shipping address will get the part. The part will be dispatched to this address. So the primary, secondary, and the shipping address are important here. So this will be on the file when a dispatch or tech support case is created. So either customer can choose various contacts. They can, if they have like 10 or 100 contacts, they can choose for each group. So they can have multiple groups, one site and multiple groups, and each group can have its own configuration. A group can be a few customers choose group as like either their building, their state, their country, or even any region. So group can be defined by customer, right? So customer defines it. So each group can have its own configurations. That flexibility is there. So multiple groups. So there is no limit on number of groups which have to be created. Then manage preferences, right? So this is auto update SupportAssist. SupportAssist can be auto updated if you enable this. And if it is not, SupportAssist has to be manually updated by customer whenever there is a newer release available. And every support assist has an expiry date. So version will be expired uh, within about 18 months. So then support assist has to be renewed by the customer. So they have to come and download. Instead, support if this preference is enabled, it can be auto updated. Then we have a second preference, include software information and collecting data. So this provides support assist agent to collect some additional information like a drivers or the applications which are installed. So this gives some additional information so that support assist can collect them and populate them again in the TechDirect portal for the customer to take certain actions or review their data. And third preference is also important to the customer. So if you see, include information about IP address macro. So these are like PII information, any personal identifiable information such as IP address and MAC address, host name. So these either, if this is excluded, then support assist doesn't collect this information. So that customer will have the control. So they can choose it again based on the region or group, right? So for certain PCs, they can enable it. For certain PCs, they need not. So this flexibility is available. So why this information is collected? Again, it is shown as an identifier to the customer. In TechDirect portal, if there is a hard drive dispatch uh, for a particular Dell identifiable service tag, then not all customers may identify a PC by the service tag. So that is why this information is collected where host name will be vital. So customer can identify their host name clearly and take actions. And then the other section, the other item includes smart PC update recommendations. Smart PC driver update recommendations is very useful. Let's say if there is an Intel driver which is failing in the field for about with 90%. So then, but the latitude model may require that particular uh, driver version, but it is because it has 90% failure in the field. Our AI-enabled system can identify that, okay, this has 90% failure. So let's not recommend this to the user. So it will skip that and use it and provide a better version or a version which is below that, so that the end user is not impacted and IT administrator doesn't have to go through the hassle of installing a failure a driver. So smart PC driver is recommendations. We have our data science models, which are being accessed, uh, updated every day, so that end user gets the valid and recommended with most successful driver recommendations available in the TechDirect portal and to the end user. So these are very useful preferences, and customers can play around it, like where they can choose preferences according to their needs as per their region. So so all these preferences will impact the end user, how the end user experience is going to be. So that can be defined in these preferences. That is why I'm taking little extra time here, so that you understand it very clearly. So this is going to impact the entire application. So these preferences are important. And at the same time, our application is so good that, so even if you make a change, let's say today you have chosen a driver scan to run monthly, and tomorrow you decided to be weekly, it can be done, and almost in near real time, the changes will be reflected on the end user PCs. So that is another good benefit of this. So schedule your scans and optimizations. So by default, like weekly, you can run it weekly, and the hardware scan is also weekly or monthly, so that driver scans will run at the scheduled frequency on the end user PCs, which are within this group. So the group specific to this group. So if this group has 100 PCs, you can set to 100 PCs have to run in weekly. And there can be another group which can have 1,000 pieces, right? So for them, you can have monthly. So you can define your own preferences. Great flexibility is available here. So then system optimization scans. So if it has to be clean files, tune performance, optimize network. So these preferences can be can be configured again as per the preference according to the customer need. Clean files, it's going to clean the temporary files, tune performance, optimize network, remove virus. So remove virus is a complementary solution. It is provided here, complementary. So it doesn't replace the McAfee or any other antivirus you have installed on the PC. It's going to work together with it. That is, it's going to uh, along with the SupportAssist other features, it is available. So it can do certain things, but it doesn't necessarily replace the one which you have hosted on the PC. So it has system optimization can be scanned as well, either weekly or monthly. Then automatic PC optimization. If this is enabled, it's going to clean up the temporary files and optimize and boost the network, remove viruses automatically, silently, so that on behalf of IT administrator, it's going to take care of all the identified result set. Like if clean files, let's say if there is a 10 terabyte of data is identified, then yeah. So if this checkbox is enabled, this preference is enabled, then it's going to clean it up for you, or the IT administrator has to manually perform the task. Time range. So the system optimization scans can be scheduled at a particular time frame. So the or even driver scans, hardware scans. So all the scans will be run at the time interval which is specified here. So this time interval is specific to the local time zone of that particular PC. If the PC is in central time zone, so it applies to central time zone. If it is in APJ time zone, it applies to APJ time zone. So and then run scans in background. If this is not enabled, end user will get a prompt, so that prompt either they can get 2 times. There will be deferral options. End user can defer the scan 2 times. If not, it's going to run in the background silently and without interrupting the end user productivity. So algorithm makes a decision, okay, when to trigger the scan. Like if the end user is right now, I am on a call, the scan may not doesn't trigger because it identifies that okay, I'm in this based on the telemetry on the PC at this moment. So it identifies and it doesn't trigger the scan. And at the same time, if the battery life is like less than 50%, then it doesn't trigger the scan. So the battery life should be should be more than 50% for the scan to trigger. So certain logic, certain business logic is there, and algorithm determines when to trigger a scan background so that end user is not interrupted. And I will take a few more minutes to explain you this user interaction. User interaction is a user interface which will be displayed on the end user PC. End user will get the SupportAssist user, a very graphical user interface with all the options which are provided here. So if a customer doesn't want boost performance or optimize network, then they can disable this. They need not select it, and end user PC will not have these features. They can have only drivers updates. So this preference, very granular preferences are provided to the end user, to the IT administrator, so that they can decide which feature they need it on the end user PC, which they don't. So do not allow means the end user graphical user interface will not be displayed on end user PCs. If you allow it, you can choose which one you want, like driver updates, boost performance, optimize network, display. Yeah. So all of this. So end users will have either local admin rights or no admin rights. So if you want end users to all users, either admins or non-admin users, both wants to perform the action, then you can enable this. so that scans and driver updates will be done performed by the non-admin users as well. Boost performance optimized. So yeah, this can be enabled or disabled. And display system notifications. So this is a toast notification which will be displayed next to the in Windows operating system. Toast notification will be shown, indicating if you have a driver update available or if the scan is running or scan is about to start. Such notifications will be displayed here if this is enabled. If not, it will be completely silent. And the remote actions. Remote actions run all remote operations without end user interaction. That is, you have the end user is working on something, or end user has logged in an active session, and then remote action. Remote action is remotely if you want to perform a scan or update a driver, then end user will get a prompt saying, okay, IT administrator, your IT department is performing a remote action. Do you want to run it now or run it later? So there will be two different chances. End user may click run later and postpone it. Or if you keep it completely, like if you enable this preference, then end user doesn't get the preference, the pop-up. So end user, so it will be completely silent in the background. The update is or remote action or scan will be running. And certain drivers or BIOS, they will be needing reboot of the PC after the driver is updated. So if you want a prompt which is shown by the operating system or by the support assist, that okay, your IT department has applied certain drivers and it requires a reboot. So if the customer, it is again preference by the customer, right? So if the customer doesn't want the prompt to be shown to the end user, so then they can suppress it. If not, they can enable it. So which drivers or which how this can be decided, right? So any driver or anything which is below the OS operating system, that is like BIOS or firmware, video chipset, such things need a reboot. But otherwise, other audio driver, those things may not require a reboot. So based on that, customer needs to make a decision, and also they have to decide, okay, if the end user, if they want end users to be aware of this or no, right? So whenever customer or end user reboots the PC, then the changes will be reflected. Then the time frame is provided. So within this time interval, the PC updates will be done. So these are the great powerful preferences. I just took some extra time and I went a little bit slow so that you are aware of these powerful preferences. This is going to impact the end user experience and also the IT administrator, how they manage the entire process, right? So these are the things, and this can be done, configured, preferred. Preferences can be changed anytime, almost near real time changes going to reflect. So that is not a problem. Then it can be customized according to the group of PCs. So that is another benefit. Okay, so this is I'll give a pause here. So far we talked about two sections. One is onboarding TechDirect and company enrolling into your company, enroll your company, adding technicians, and granting them roles, and then support assist configurations, preferences. We took, yeah, we have detailedly discussed this. Okay, once this is done, like once this step is done, so the next step is to download the application. Okay, so I'll give a like a 10 seconds pause here so that we can go to the next section. Yeah. So select site. So you might be wondering, what is this site, right? So a site is something, it's a uh, logical name or logical unit we have created. Support Assist automatically creates. So initially, when you when a customer onboards and starts using this, they may not see this drop down. They'll see the configuration and download. So once SupportAssist is downloaded, logically we create a default site for the customer. A default, like by the name of the company, a site name will be created, and a default group will be created. Automatically, SupportAssist does that. So now there is you have downloaded a package, installed it, then a site will be created. So the customer can create another site for a different region or as per their need, and create number of groups below that. So an asset which is there in a group can be moved to another group. Let's say I'm in Texas. My asset, if I can be moved from Texas to, if there is a group by name Washington, it can be moved there. But an asset cannot be moved between sites. It can be moved between groups. So customer uh, has to go through the hierarchy, how they want to organize this prior to downloading this. So that is why I'm just waiting here. I'm just giving the explanation here so that before downloading, I just want to tell. So the hierarchy should be defined even before downloading, so customer understands this. So there is a site. Under site, you can have multiple groups, and you can also have site two and have their own groups, right? So the hierarchy has to be defined. Then So you're initiating SupportAssist deployment, then click download. The current version is 450182225, the release date and valid expiration date. So what this package is going to include, so there's one activation file and proxy settings have to be done. So, and there are a few other applications. Okay. SupportAssist for Business PCs is downloading. So once it is downloaded, like you need to unzip and extract the manager and run the wizard. So there is a deployment package manager, a wizard. And why the wizard is needed, what we are doing now is that we are downloading an extractor, and from there we create a build because every IT department or every IT company have the proxy or firewalls enabled in their network. So it is important we create the build. So not just downloading, but download and follow these instructions, then create the build according to the proxy which is set up in that particular company. Okay. Prior to this, I just want to go over the prerequisites. So customer has to go through the prerequisites which are here, right? Let's go through the prerequisites. Prerequisites, it requires Windows 11 or Windows 10. And then .NET Desktop Runtime 80X, right? So this is the latest .NET Desktop Runtime. This has to be installed. And SupportAssist download extractor will come up with this. So customer need not, either they can do separately or through SupportAssist, they can install it. And these are the minimum requirements. So again, the most other important requirements are network requirements. So it's going to use TLS 1.2 or 1.3 is the most secure layer, and then a TLS layer. Then these are all the endpoints which have to be whitelisted and allowed to communicate so that the SupportAssist functionality will work end to end, right? So why an endpoint has to be allowed is the purpose is provided here, and the communication mode port 443. So most of them use port 443, and some of them which are not port 443 uses localhost, which runs only within the. This is for inter-process communication, which happens within the processes which are there on the which are hosted on the particular PC. So these are all the endpoints which have to be allowed to communicate. So if IT network team blocks the communication, then the SupportAssist functionality may not work correctly. So it's important customer has to make sure they work with the network team and whitelist all these endpoints even before deployment. So once they get all these endpoints whitelisted, and make sure the their proxy, the communication goes through this proxy. If they have proxy enabled or firewall enabled, all those have to be allowed to these destinations which are provided. So these are also listed in, it's provided in TechDirect. It is also listed in is our release notes. I will show it later. Then it is also listed in admin guide and deployment guide. Deployment guide, release notes, and it is here. These are a very important step. I think it is downloaded. Let's, yeah. So the package is downloaded. Let's take this. It's a zip file with 2 MB file, 2 MB size. Let's extract it. It has 2 files. One is activation, SupportAssist activation, and deployment manager. exe with 2 MB file, right? It has opened a deployment package manager. It's a small wizard where IT administrator will be configuring the proxy and choosing the deployment mode and few add-ons which are needed. So it is just validating the activation code which is here, and the deployment is done for the site which I have chosen. For the first time, it's going to create an automatic site. Okay, create a SupportAssist deployment or modify an existing SupportAssist deployment. I just want to give a important step here, important thing. So most customers or end users, they get confused between SupportAssist versions. SupportAssist have two different applications for the client: SupportAssist for home PCs, SupportAssist for business PCs. Home PCs is for the consumer clients, whereas for business PCs is for the commercial clients. So most customers, they get confused if they have home PCs installed by end users. So they may choose modify an existing SupportAssist deployment, which is incorrect because what they have is home PCs. So it is still create a SupportAssist deployment. Okay, SupportAssist deployment. It's a new. This is SupportAssist for business PCs deployment, and a deployment key. Just provide a key as per the instructions here. Letter, number, deployment key. Deployment key is like one additional step so that deployment is secure. So now IT admin is defining this deployment key. They need not remember it. So it's going to be saved when the build is created. Central Resource Manager. So I'll give a brief overview on what this application is about. Central Resource Manager is certain few customers or certain models may require like BIOS password is enabled on the BIOS certain BIOS versions or BIOS, right? BIOS, so that now the password is there. If the password is there, and if you are remotely executing a BIOS from the TechDirect portal, then the password is important, right? So without password, then the remote action may fail. So Central Resource Manager is a small utility we had given to the customers. So this will get installed in a file server or somewhere in a server where that particular server is accessible from each endpoint. If they have 1,000 PCs and 1,000 PCs BIOS has a password, has password enabled, then this application has to be installed in a common file server so that every endpoint, every end user PC can access that particular file server, right? So install it. And again, this is all managed. The passwords utility, everything is managed on the customer side. So nothing is taken to, like the data is not communicated to Dell. Okay, so password at runtime, Support Assist will retrieve the password using this tool and then apply it and update the BIOS. Then the task is done. So it doesn't store anywhere. So it happens at runtime. So provide the seed value. Uh, yeah. So some any number, then right, then the IP address, right? Provide the IP address of the file server where this central resource manager will be hosted, right? Central resource manager is useful only for those customers or those groups which have BIOS password enabled, right? If the password is not enabled in their BIOS, then it is not required. Okay. Then Dell Trusted Device, we have another add-on service, Dell Trusted Device 612, the current version. Dell Trusted Device, what it does is it does an assessment. If the PC vulnerabilities or if there is any attacks, right? It can verify and provide a details on the TechDirect portal. I'll just show you in shortly. Like once deployment is done, I'll show you what kind of data it will populate. Okay, so this is one small agent which is going to, it is an independent service which will be installed. Okay. And this is one more important step where every IT department, if they have the proxies enabled in their network and every endpoint or every request has to go through the proxy, then they have to input the proxy here. So the proxy details, the proxy and the port. And if it requires an authentication, you can provide the details here. And Support Assist, in addition to the usual security best practices, it does an additional certificate validation, right? So for certificate validation, it is all done like at the back end, even while registering the Support Assist on a particular asset. So certificate validation happens. Support Assist will not communicate with Dell and will be operational if the certification chain fails. So it's important. So I'll show you the documentation related to that quickly. It is in the release notes and also here. It's available here. We can go through this. Network requirements. Yeah. So customers should just make sure these certificates are, like all these third-party popular Entrust, right? So they're allowed in the customer network. So then the certificate validation will pass perform check. And few customers, if they cannot add any exceptions, in this case, they can choose skip check and continue. So functionality doesn't get impacted, but just that customer may not get that additional security verification, validation, which has to be done. Okay, so perform check. So once this is done, once the proxy is input and configured, so customer has an option. There are two methods here, MSD or ADMX ADML. ADMX, the Active Directory Deployment. Support a few customers may choose this or MSD, choose an MSD. It is downloading .NET Desktop Runtime, which is a prerequisite application. It is downloading two modes, EXE or MSI. Customers can choose either one of them, EXE or MSI. Then I have added Dell Trusted Device 6120. And there is Central Resource Manager as well. So if you have password enabled BIOS, then the other application can be installed. Along with, like once this is all downloaded and done. So it also provides a deployment instructions. While this is downloading, I want to go over the SupportAssist, how the features look like. So once this is all downloaded and deployed, I just want to go over the menu, what other features are available. Then once the download is done, we can come back to the deployment section. Or I'll give you a pause here. So any important questions we can go over.
Do you have a few questions that we want to answer live? The
Yeah.
first question is I just started testing Dell SupportAssist for Business PCs. One issue I noticed after updating the BIOS of the Latitude 74030 was a request for the BitLocker recovery key after the BIOS update and reboot. Is there anything I could do to prevent this? The update was done from TechDirect portal.
Update was done from, okay, just reading it. Update was done from TechDirect portal. It will disable the BitLocker, and after applying the BIOS, it will enable the BitLocker again.
Awesome. And then we also do have one other live question that is, what if your devices have two different passwords?
One device has BIOS have two different passwords. Is that the question?
It said, what if your devices have two different passwords? Kevin, I know that you were not able to go off of mute because you don't have audio. If you just want to list that in the chat and I can answer that. In our company, not all devices have the same BIOS password.
Yeah. So that is true, Kevin. So the utility, maybe I'll try to get that utility. So every company will, not, there can be multiple passwords, right? So the utility, what the customer has to do is download the utility, install it, then import your passwords into that utility, like all the passwords with each service tag, right? For each service tag, there will be a password. So import them. Then at runtime, SupportAssist will read the password for related password to that particular service tag, and then applies it. Yeah. It can have different, like each PC has its own different passwords, so they can manage it. I will go over that. Like I will show you. Maybe I'll just quickly show you related here. If you see here, export central resource manager list. So what you can download this and just input the password next to it. So it will download you all these service tags into an Excel. Yeah, something like this. And then in the sheet name, so instructions are provided here. In the G label as password, enter the respective BIOS password against each PC. So here you have these many PCs, and here BIOS password. Enter this, and this is not hosted in. It is hosted in at the customer end, not in the Dell side. So it's all managed by you. Only Excel is provided, and at runtime, SupportAssist reads it and applies it. Okay, I think I hope the download is not yet. Okay. So some of you are familiar, looks like you're familiar with SupportAssist application for business PCs. Yeah, when you go to download the SupportAssist, nothing happens. I see prerequisites, people, settings, but no download begins. I think it could be, could you please check if there is any pop-ups or disabled? Like, because when I clicked on download, you see another tab opened. Please see if the pop-ups are, make sure pop-ups are enabled, and probably try in incognito mode just to see if it is not a browser issue, browser caching or those things. Try other browser, but it shouldn't be a problem. Yeah, maybe pop-up is disabled. You can check that. Okay. All right. So SupportAssist, once you have PCs deployed, you can for logins. Do you? Yeah. There is possibility, but it is not like formally. There is a process, separate process, and yeah, it is possible. Yeah, if it is absolutely needed for any customers, yeah, we can make it to work. For logins, integration, IDP with yeah, it's possible.
Are there any further questions?
Yeah. Okay. So
Well, I think Jessica and
once,
Aaron have answered everything that was in the Q&A and in the
yeah,
chat.
thank you.
Rowan,
So we have, yeah, I just want to proceed
yeah,
here. Yeah, while it downloads a few more seconds, I just want to explain some of this information. So once SupportAssist deployment is done, once the assets are deployed, so you can see a complete overview of service plans, software versions, or PC requirements. So all these are dis displayed for an executive kind of overview. Like if a company administrator, your IT administrator wants to see a complete overview, they can see this, how many pieces are connected in last 30 days, how many disconnected. It gives a overview like weekly in a graphical overview and also daily status, right? And then there is search. You can search. There are some criteria you can search based on various data elements, PC utilization, if it is less than. So you can have your own query, create your own queries, create your own rule, and execute it and get the telemetry, needed telemetry. Search by service tag or host name. So this is possible. Then I want to show you audit trail. Audit trail is any activity which is performed here, which is done on this TechDirect portal. Every activity is tracked here. So for 30 days, you can see who did what. So what operations, suppose as deregistration was done on so and so date. This was done by system, that is automatically done. If it is, if an operation is done, like who did, the name of the person name, and the activity which they performed will be in audit trail. Sub activity. Remote actions. Remote actions is driver scans or driver updates. If they have done, then they can see who performed, when, and what is the status. So driver update, remote action done here, it was successful. Remote action done here, it failed. So why it failed? Failed to update Dell command. Yeah, there was an error. So it provides you the reason, and it can be exported as CSV and discussed internally within the IT department. Yeah, SupportAssist deployment is done. Your support is successfully generated, and there are instructions saved. Okay, so let's open the instructions and also open the build which was created. Yeah, this 2 MB file we downloaded. This is a zip file. This was an extracted file folder. The deployment package, SupportAssist deployment package zip file is the one which is created now. Let's unzip this. Yeah. So this, I'll just go over the files which are available here. So Dell Trusted Device is an application which we downloaded. This is for the security assessment. Okay, this is a separate service. You need to install it separately. SupportAssist cleanup, like if you have SupportAssist for home PCs installed on your end user on the PCs, then this is a PowerShell script which is available. This can be executed so that the cleanup has to be done prior to installing SupportAssist for business PCs. So SupportAssist cleanup PowerShell only to uninstall SupportAssist for home PCs. Then the MST file, the configuration MST file, 20 KB small size file, which was created with the proxy preferences which you have used in the wizard, the instructions file and the application exe and MSI, and .NET Desktop runtime. This is a prerequisite. So let's go over the instructions. Suppose deployment instructions. Step 1, install .NET Desktop runtime. Okay, .NET Desktop runtime, once it is installed, deploy SupportAssist for business PCs. The command is here. Okay, for example, right? So this is an exe. But if you choose exe, SupportAssist installer exe, transforms, and apply the MST which was created. Okay, this has a proxy setting. So this will be applied to the exe and gets installed. And the deployment key, associated deployment key is mandatory. So deployment key along with this. So this is a command which has to be executed. So then if they choose MSI, then uninstall home PCs. If you choose exe, it can uninstall the SupportAssist for home PCs automatically. Only in case of MSI, if you choose MSI, then the step 1 will be to uninstall home PCs using the PowerShell script, then install the command for SupportAssist for business PC. Okay, so then deploy Dell Trusted Device like any other application. So how you deploy this? So customers use different tools to deploy. So either simply, if it is a small medium business customer, they can simply choose a command prompt and install it. Okay, just execute the command and it gets installed. And if customer chooses SCCM or Intune or Workspace ONE or any other Dell case or any other important, any other famous popular tools in the industry, then they can use exactly the same command and same files, and it is very easy to configure and configure an app as an application and execute within this as per the instructions as step 1 and step 2 within Intune and SCCM as well. So once it is installed, it's going to create some services. Dell services will be created. It will have Dell Client Management Service, Dell Data Vault Service, and Dell SupportAssist for Business PCs, Dell Tech Hub. So these are the Windows services which gets created. Once the installation is done, they will be up and running. And in the control panel, you can see SupportAssist is installed. So once the installation is done, SupportAssist, and if the end user has the UI enabled, then SupportAssist end user will see the SupportAssist for business PCs version 4.5. The user interface will be running. Within a day or less than a day, SupportAssist will monitor the telemetry and upload the asset details and telemetry information to the TechDirect portal, where IT administrator or IT technician can perform the actions or manage their assets and their behavior, right? So this is our new user interface, where from here SupportAssist actions can be done, like where check for driver updates, hardware scan, and the software optimizations. They were not enabled here, so end user doesn't see. So what this does, all the details are provided. So scans can be performed. Yeah. So this works for admin or non-admin users. End users can perform certain tasks. This is all controlled by the IT administrator using the preferences which we went over. Okay. Thank you very much. If there are any other questions, we can follow up. Yeah.
Awesome. I do not see anything in the chat, but thank you so much, Rowan, and thank you, Jessica and Aaron, for joining us today.